that steps are being taken on the reforms platform. But before we comment on his latest, it is important for us to notice that he had only recently said a few words on how the oil marketing companies are keeping their book of accounts. If I can recall, I'm not quoting, but I just paraphrase the words that he had used, saying their accounting systems are old-fashioned, that their accounting systems are not transparent. These were roughly the kind of words with which the finance minister has defined the bookkeeping practices of the oil marketing companies. Bharatiya Janata Party, as you all know, is launching major campaign against the approach in oil pricing of this government, particularly also the recent capping of the LPG. On the 12th, as you all know, all over the country, you're going to have, from the BJP side, a lot of protests. The BJP would like to understand as to how this government, particularly on the oil marketing affair, is conducting its business. If indeed, as the finance minister has mentioned a few days ago, if the accounting techniques are old-fashioned and if it is not transparent, whilst the opposition, not just the principal opposition party BJP, but many other parties have also said that if the oil marketing companies are giving dividend to the government, which means they are making profit, and if indeed they are making profit, where is the price rise each time getting justified? On the one hand, you want to show that they have removed the governmental control, which means every time there is a fluctuation in the international market, the fluctuation should be reflected in the local pricing too, be it of diesel, be it of petrol, be it of LPG. The fluctuations are not reflecting, only the hikes are getting reflected. And if that is the case, and if the dividends are being given, where is the profit coming from? And if indeed profits are being made and dividends are being given by the oil marketing companies to the government, why is that not getting transferred to the Aam Aadmi? The profit, after all, is being made on these absolutely essential and critical commodities which are important for the economy. And therefore, it is perfectly consistent that the finance minister has observed that the accounting process of the oil marketing companies seems to be not so transparent. And therefore, I think it is important for us to now raise this issue as to the government. Will it spend some time to get it transparent? Will it explain where the dividend is coming from, where actually is the profit coming from? And if it is indeed reflective of the fluctuations in the international market, why are we not seeing it commensurate with every hike and every decline in the price of oil related goods abroad, crude price essentially abroad? And therefore, I'm keeping this as the background to comment today on the ambitious statements that the finance minister is making about the economy. 8.2 did he say today? Hoping to peg the Indian growth at 8.2? For who is this growth? For who exactly is this growth being pegged at 8.2? If it is achievable, I would like to ask from the BJP, for whom is this growth? Because whether at 6.2%, whether it is at 5%, whether it is, we are expecting it at 6.5%. Last 8 years, the growth, the tantalizing growth figures that we are being given every time is devoid of job creation. Let us not forget that. It is totally devoid of job creation. And in the context of that ambitious FDI in multi-brand retail, you're not creating jobs, but here are you coming up with an FDI in retail in such a hurry after having slept over every second generation reform that you have to do, the implication of which will be to throw those self-employed traders from their jobs, throw out those middlemen who are helping in purchasing and selling of goods from their jobs. These are self-employed men who have been doing this over the generations of small entrepreneurship and small trades business that many Indian families have been over the generation doing it. Does this government have the moral right to come, a government which has not given us any new job generation, to come here to only throw out people who are self-employed? What right has this minority government got to do to take such decisions which are going to affect your and my lives? So the BJP's argument, and again today the finance minister interestingly says that after all the first draft of the FDI in multi-brand retail or something to this effect was done during NDA time. I'm glad he is recalling a lot of work which NDA had started off. NDA has not been anti-reform. We are in favor of it. And had only the NDA come back to power in 2004, the momentum with which this country's infrastructure was being built, whether at 18 kilometers per day road laying, which has come down to about 5 kilometers in this government, whether in bringing self-sufficiency in power generation, or whether in other infrastructural matters we would have processed telephone connectivity and other things, we would have definitely made a difference in terms of the environment which was necessary for bringing in this kind of reforms. BJP is not anti-reform, and that has been periodically proved. But we knew at what stage to bring in which reform. Not when you have not created jobs, not when self-employed people are at a risk of getting thrown out of their jobs, will I thoughtlessly bring in FDI and retail and say it is aimed at, probably one of the steps aimed at the tantalizing 8.6% growth. So I'm sorry, the finance minister cannot pick and choose statements which he wants to say to justify this government's inept handling of the economy. The last 8 years, they have never been anything so bad that this country has seen. All of us have been talking about policy paralysis. Now when their status has completely come down to be a lame duck government, a government without majority support, a government which is almost scrambling every day to mop up the numbers that it requires in the parliament, is in a rush to bring in these many different steps and call them reforms. The BJP objects to these kind of, pick and choose statements which the finance minister may give. I think a coherent and a complete articulation of the failure that has happened in the last 8 years, and a coherent and complete articulation of why today, overnight, when they have not answered questions on corruption, big ticket corruption, today they are in a hurry to come up with steps which is done to attract foreign investment. Foreign investment does not come when this entire atmosphere is corrupt and answers are not being given or punishments are not being given to people who have done this corruption. And therefore, the BJP today wants to make it plain that let there not be a hurry to give an impression to the people of this country that many things are happening overnight. What should have happened with steady progression, with many other things which should have happened to strengthen the economy, has not happened. And today, with a minority status, this government may try as it may, it's not going to make a big difference. Thank you.